Hey, everybody, it is Saturday afternoon. This is a special Saturday afternoon episode of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're having a good weekend. It is nice here along the southern New England coast. Of course, you guys know we broadcast this show from the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area here in the United States. And we're here along the southern New England coast between New York and Boston. And it is beautiful. A little cloudy out, but we'll take it because last week it was Hurricane Henri that came through the area. We fared well unscathed, which was really, really nice. But a little cloudy, some rain, I think, coming. But a nice 71 degrees. The last 3-4 days, it was like 99 degrees. Hey, prayers to everybody watching in the southern part of the United States, especially those in Louisiana and East Texas, as well as Mississippi, Alabama. That tremendous hurricane Ida is at the doorstep there. So I know we have some viewers in that area, some of our lovely viewers. We're praying for all of you. Again, that's at the time of this show we're talking, because we are doing the shows live, as we always do. You may be watching this 6 months from now. This will have already passed. But again, since we're live, we're sending some levity to everybody there. We have relatives down in that area as well. So fingers crossed. Ida is a big one, talking category 4. To give you some perspective, Katrina was category 3. And this is coming on the actual 16-year anniversary of Katrina. So again, we had Henri blow through here. We're good. They got Ida coming to the southern United States and the Louisiana area, and we're praying for everybody there. Hope you're doing well. If this is your first time here, welcome you. Of course, this is a mug that was sent to us. Kind, generous, supportive you. This came in from Karen Campbell Green in Nova Scotia. We thank her for this. And I was smart. I tell you guys, I always heat up a cup of coffee or tea, right? And then I put it down. I get interrupted with 500 other things that are going on. I go back to it. It's ice cold, reheat it, forget it. Then I take it out of the microwave. The water is cold. I reheat. I said, you know what? We're going to go with some cold brew today. So it's already cold. I don't have to worry about reheating anything. And we toast all of you. It's good to see you here with our cold brew coffee, and we toast everybody. Thanks for joining us. If this is your first time, again, we welcome you. We've done 464 episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, day in and day out, just about 7 days a week. I think the only times we weren't here, maybe it was Christmas Day, maybe it was an anniversary celebration with family, or it was a family day, or I was called away on a TV project or something. But generally, 7 days a week, bringing you guys entertainment, inspiration, and lots more too, thought-provoking and poignant conversations with our guests who come literally from Broadway and Hollywood, television, film, music, science and nature, health and wellness, comedy, sports, culinary arts, and so much more. Every show is something different, unique, and special. It's not the same old, same old. It's bringing back the lost art of conversation, old school Dick Cavett, Johnny Carson, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas style, with a warm, inviting freestyle, modern twist of today. So everybody's doing well, right? If you're not, well, we'll put smiles on your face because we've got an amazing guest. Actor Scott Bryce is here, Emmy nominated several times. He's with us as well. Now, of course, I know you guys are excited, and you've been talking about some of the things you recall him being on many years on, of course, As the World Turns, also an appearance on Murphy Brown in Deception, and I know you guys like Hallmark movies. Well, guess what? He is actually going to be in a Hallmark mystery coming up in September, so just a matter of weeks. We're going to talk about that in just a second. First, we always like to greet and welcome the viewers, because without our viewers or our lovities, nothing exists in any of these industries. So it's good to have you here. And of course, we welcome you to the show. We would absolutely love it if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is the channel you're watching right now. That's Jim Masters TV. Click that notification bell so you never miss any of the episodes live of JMS. And also click that notification bell, because we sometimes do surprise pop-up shows. That's right. Shows that just pop up out of the blue, and it's just us chatting back and forth. I mean, we've done 2-hour shows just talking about life and food and everything else, which is cool. We say hello to the Lovity Squad. Those are the real faithful viewers and supporters of the Jim Masters Show Live who are always here. I see all the comments coming in live right now. It's good to see everybody from all around the world, from morning, noon, and night, wherever you are and whatever that time zone is. And of course, we say give this episode and any episode you enjoy of the Jim Master Show Live a thumbs up, give it some levity on our YouTube channel, and leave a comment as well. We would absolutely love that. And of course, tell your friends about our show. Let them know. Don't keep it a secret that we're here on YouTube with this fantastic series that we do. Let's check in with some of the viewers, our lovelies from around the world. Juanita is here watching from South Africa, as always. She loves when we do the earlier shows because it's so late for her in South Africa. Just to let you know, too, in addition to Scott being on in just a second, tonight we've got an amazing show with Connie Jackson. Yes, award-winning singer and actress Connie Jackson. She's coming up tonight as well. She's all excited. She's been posting and sharing, and she's going to perform live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So Juanita watching in South Africa, good to see you. She says, hello, Jim and lovely squad. Welcome to the show, Juanita. Once again, Alessandra in North Carolina. Hi there, Jim and lovelies and Scott. Fantastic. Good to see you, Alessandra. Welcome to Lovely Hall, Scott. Thank you for being a guest. Scott, I told him all about the whole Lovely thing. He said, bring it on. He's going to have a lovely time with all of us. Dawn says, hi, Jim. Good to see you as well. Oh, I love this. Maureen, who we know, of course, is a hardworking nurse in Arizona. She says, the errands run, check. Laundry done, check. House semi-cleaned, check. Bring on the levity. Absolutely. Well, hey, while we are doing this show, you may hear a lawnmower in the background because Scott's son is, Scott's attempting to have his son mow the lawn. So if you hear in Connecticut, so if you hear that lawnmower, hey, it's a weekend in southern New England, and you're going to hear lawnmowers and things of that nature. Juanita says, now you have to check coffee made and feet up. That's it. Good afternoon, Jim and my lovely friends. Merlin, always watching in Ontario, Canada. So good to have you here. You just love our show intro. Yes, that's a new intro, the graphic with the animation and the caricature that turns into our logo. The logo, as I mentioned, we had custom designed by a renowned animator who, as he was working on the Jim Master Show logo, he was also working on one for Aerosmith. So he's renowned, and he designed the Jim Master Show logo. And of course, you guys, I know you like the theme and everything. And then his daughter animates, and his daughter took that logo that was created, and then she brought it to life in the animation where it pops out as the Jim Master Show. And she does animation for Jimmy Fallon, The Tonight Show, and many other, shows. So good friends and a very talented lot that created the open for the Jim Master Show live. And we're going to be tweaking it a little bit in September, so you're going to like it even more. Prayers going out to the southern friends. Yes, in the southern part of the United States with the big hurricane coming, and it's supposed to come. It's on its way. It's on their doorstep now. Tomorrow is going to be a very heady day there. Prayers for everybody. Thanks, Merlin in Canada, and Juanita. Yes, strong to everyone to the path of the hurricane. Strongs. I like that, how you say that. And Jones says, hi, Jim and all lovelies. Glad to see you. And you're welcoming Scott as well. Fantastic. And Juanita says, good to see y'all on the early show. Good that you're here. And we're so excited that you're doing all right. And yes, if you ever miss anything, you can always catch it all in the JMS archives on YouTube. 464 shows that you can binge watch, like many of you do, right here on our YouTube channel. Christine is in North Carolina, and she goes, greetings, Jim and Lovity Squad. We welcome Scott to Lovity Hall today. May the lovity begin. Absolutely. We're so excited to have him here on the show. Again, he's coming to us live and direct from Weston, Connecticut. And you know him from a variety of different projects, I am sure. Twice nominated for Best Actor with the Emmy, and has an extensive stage career on Broadway, Off-Broadway, and regional theater. His decades-long on-camera career runs from, of course, Facts of Life to FBI, As the World Turns, Murphy Brown, and much, much more. Behind the camera, Scott is also an award-winning director and producer. He produced the Emmy-winning Frederick Douglass, From Slavery to Freedom, and he executive produced and directed the soap opera satire Steamboat as well. Winner of Best in Branded Entertainment. Scott produced and directed Elijah Stockwell and Sybil Ludington for public television, and produced and narrated the documentary Voices of Sculpture, which you guys know my many years with PBS. Fantastic documentary project, multi-award winning documentary. You know, his years of directing as well for the stage, most recently Oliver Reimagined, and most recently as well The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Scott runs corporate seminars too, both for leadership teams as well as one on executive coaching. He's produced many meetings for US Surgical and D&B and so many others. He's got extensive experience in team building and in designing SFX, green, blue screen, multi-platform deliverables. And he's just incredible. I mean, he does so many different things. He serves on the board of directors of the New Paradigm Theater and board of advisors for the White Heron Theater, the Nantucket Theater Institute, and the Summer Theater of New Canaan, Connecticut. The last time we were together, he and his lovely wife, Jody Stevens, you might not know that, yes, they are husband and wife. They have a wonderful child who is mowing the lawn. And the last time we saw each other was in New Canaan, the New Canaan Norwalk line. Our friends David Friedman and Sean Moniker, who you've seen on this show several times, were with us. And very excited to always have a wonderful soiree there because they have so many incredible guests that come. So that's the last time we saw each other. I think it was like a Christmas event. And guess what? He is with us right now, live from Connecticut. I don't hear the lawnmowers going.
He's off to the distance. Hi, Jim. How are you?
Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. How are you guys doing on this Saturday afternoon? We got through Hurricane Henri, which was good. Yes. But we're living in some strange, crazy times, of course, with the pandemic and all. A lot of things have been closed and shut and paused. How about you? How are you guys doing with all of that?
We had, well, first of all, my remarkable wife sort of did a pivot and spin. Broadway shut down, all the theaters shut down, her concerts in, the South were done. And, what do we do? Yeah. And she also teaches voice to some pretty amazing talent around here. And she just doubled down on that, opened up. We brought in platforms on the front yard. We put in, we spaced everything out fully. So we had this very large piece of property, and she wound up running a school here. We made it a fun thing. So we actually had
there she is.
Yeah, that's my beautiful wife. And so we had a presentation, like a showcase at the end, and we made a funny bit. There was one kid whose job it was just to make sure everybody was 6 feet apart and mass, and she pulled it off. And thank goodness for it, because my work, I was still doing consulting work and some corporate stuff, but my acting work collapsed. I mean, it was really nothing. I remember calling my agent and I said, Ken, how's it going? And he said, I think the paint is almost dry. So he wasn't doing much either. So it was a tough time. For me, it was really about trying to keep a sense of norm. We have a teenage boy. It was a very hard year. Most of the time was on Zoom. Then eventually they were doing, every other day with half classes on masks. And he's going into his 10th grade year, which is far less bad than some of the kids who had to suffer through their junior and senior years and miss so many milestones in life, missing the prom, missing graduation, missing athletes being able to show their stuff in their junior year, which helps for college. So in some ways, because of his age, I guess we were a little lucky for him. And he's done very well, and he's adjusted very well. He kept his grades up. And so what we're trying to do is just keep as much of a sense of normalcy in our home as we can, as we face kind of crazy world.
It really has been something. I've said it multiple times on this show. I think the only people that could have scripted what we've experienced in the last year or so would be Rod Serling, maybe George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, or Stephen King.
I'll go one further. If somebody presented last year's reality as a movie, it would have been rejected and laughed off the lot. No one's going to believe this. You've totally jumped the shark.
Yeah.
And yet, and everything happened. That it happened. So the good news is, I think we're getting through it. in crises, sometimes in horrible things that are happening, good can come of it. And so I'm placing my bets on that we can have an awakening that's about love and about spirit, and bring our country back together and bring our world back together and try to just take care of each other. So that's what we try to do.
That's right. I'm right there with you. That's exactly what we've been saying here, hoping that, things are more unified, more empathetic. We come together, we collaborate. And how have you stayed collaborative, creative, connected, and semi-sane through all of this?
Well, one of the things I do, I work with, you mentioned I'm on the board of directors of the New Paradigm Theater, created by Kristen Huffman, whose sort of consciousness was, there are so many people trying to do good, so many charitable organizations, and we often compete against each other for the same dollars. And she thought, that's really crazy. We should all come together. So one of the things that we do in our work, we have one major show a year. We just did Footloose, which we were supposed to have done the year before, but got canceled. We've done Bye Bye Birdie and Peter Pan and Hunchback, as you mentioned, and Oliver. And we always find a partner who is a not-for-profit that we can bring in. So for Oliver, we brought in the Council of Churches of Bridgeport and the soup kitchens. And so we had our cast, our kids, work in the soup kitchens, work with the churches. When we were doing Hunchback, we worked with the Connecticut Burns Foundation, which helps children who have had horrible disfigurement with their burns, then have a normal life. And so the character of Quasimodo, who is, because of his birth, is different and other, became a right match. On Footloose, we worked with an organization called Kids Helping Kids and another organization called Souls for Souls. So the kids got together and they made a benefit of bringing in lightly used shoes. Apparently, homeless people have a tremendous amount of trouble getting decent shoes. We raised 650 pairs. It's like, and something simple like that. It cost the kids nothing, a couple of days work. And again, as my mother was a very philanthropic woman and always felt it was about connecting the dots. For instance, she used to read, my parents would read up in the Bridgeport school systems to kids, and they would read stories. And it would take several years before the same kids came back. And there was one little boy who really impressed my mother. And she said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And he says, I want to be a judge because I feel my people aren't judged fairly. So from then on, his nickname was Your Honor. Now, it took a couple of years to see him again. And now reading is really tough. And my mother's like, what's going on? And he says, my mom says, one more check, we'll be able to maybe afford some glasses. So my mother's heart breaks. She goes down to the principal. She says, what are we going to do about getting him glasses? And the principal says, Dorothy, you know how many kids needs glasses here?
Yeah.
She said, no. Why don't you tell me? Give me the list. So he did. And then she went to the Kiwanis Club and the Lions Club, and she said, hi, I'm trying to get like one optometrist to give one pair of glasses. We're going to need like 15. Can we get 15 different optometrists? And 2 optometrists stood up and goes, we'll take care of the whole thing. And so now every year, these kids are getting glasses. And there's my mother going, here's the problem, here's the solution. And all that we need to do is put those two together. People want to help. We often don't know how to start.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of starting, how did you first get started in the world of acting? What were those inspirations for you growing up? Maybe some of the family members, maybe others, teachers, or just your passion and enthusiasm for wanting to, get your feet wet and dive right in early on?
I'm 4 generations in the business. We go back to the circus in Scotland. My grandfather was Whitey Main, and he was the lead, the chief booking agent for the Keith Albee vaudeville circuit, and he managed Mae West and the Marx Brothers, among others. My mother grew up with the Maine what were they called? The Coisters.
Yeah.
They were all just all siblings. The whole family toured, and they would, so they were in show business all the time. My mother founded the Greenwich Mews Playhouse, and then she hired my father to play Creon and Antigone, and that's how they met. And then they fell in love. I hated the business. My brothers hated the business. We grew up in it. And it didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand it. The whole fame thing was very odd. I didn't really want anything to do with it. And I'm in ninth grade, and we're about to tour the Staples High School, where we're going to go to 10th grade. Staples High School has a world famous drama club called the Staples Players, which was then run by a man by the name of Al Pia, who's no longer with us, but an extraordinary teacher. And sometime Google the list of Staples Players, because it's really quite amazing, the amount of actors that have come out. So I'm on the tour group, and we're on the stage. And unbeknownst to me, the tour group keeps going. There's 25 other people. I'm alone, and I'm looking up at the rafters on this theater, and I'm just sort of standing there. And a voice from the very back of the theater, and this is a 1,500 seat theater. It's gigantic. And way in the back, this voice says, "Feel like you're home?" And I turned around to the voice, like voice of God, and I said, "Yes." And he said, "Good, you're the lead in the next show. I'll send the script to your parents' house." And I helped Pia, and I left, and I started rehearsals the next day. It was for Brick in the Rose. I played the lead, Tommy. We won all states, and I won Best Actor. And suddenly I was in the business. Then, in high school, my junior year, I did a play called The Ruling Class by Peters Barnes. I played a paranoid schizophrenic who believes he's Jesus Christ. Brilliant play. After the play was over, my parents come backstage, and they were very somber. I thought, uh-oh, something's up. And the play was very successful. And I looked at my dad and I said, "Was I okay?" And he said, "You were brilliant, son." And I thought, okay, something's up. So I go to a cast party. I'm junior in high school. One of my brothers, there must be something wrong. I go home. I open the door. My mother is sobbing on the couch. My father is consoling her. I said, what's going on? My mom looks up and says, "We know you're an actor." And she was an actress, and he's an actor. And she said, "There's no way to save you from the pain." And it was like, and I thought, I was so odd. But it's true. At that moment, that's when it happened.
Wow.
And I never looked back. And I'm so lucky. I've been so.
You've had wonderful opportunities. Yeah. But I think what's great about it is you're, I know, a big believer in gratitude. You've never taken any of it for granted or lightly. You know the importance of it all. And that's an amazing thing to be able to go through it, especially with the opportunities that you've had. What would you consider, that would be like a door opening opportunity right there to have that happen? What would you say was next after that, where your career path really started to then take off? People started to pay heed to Scott and his talent, his work, his passion for it. What would happen next after that amazing aha moment?
I started doing theater. I went to Juilliard. I dropped out of Juilliard after about a year. I'm not even sure why at the time. And then I thought I was going to quit, not do theater. And I wound up doing construction in Connecticut. And a friend of mine, Andy Behar, who's now the CEO of the As You Sow Foundation, was a producer at the time, saw me in Bridgeport. So "What are you doing here? Come to New York. Just live in my house." And so I lived in his loft. And I started to wait tables. I'm doing the bartending thing, driving cabs, all of it. And I had auditioned for The Guiding Light. Betty Ray was the casting director, amazing, extraordinary casting director who knew my father, because my father had done Guiding Light. And I had auditioned for the role of Josh, which Robert Newman got. And it's so good that Robert Newman got it, because it's Robert Newman's role, and it was perfect. And I go and I auditioned for it. I didn't get it. I went to screen test, didn't happen. So 2 months later, I get another call to go in for an audition. And I had to work at the restaurant till 4 a.m. And the audition was like at 9:30 in the morning. And, I felt horrible. I was sick. I was tired. And I go in to see Betty Ray. And Betty Ray's looking up at her television monitor, and she's watching the scenes that are being shot on the floor live. She's got the script in front of her. I walk in. And this is my young, angry, arrogant, young, youthful self. And I start doing the scene, and Betty's not even looking at me. And I tell this story a lot to every young actor I work with, because there were several moments I just wanted to say in my youthful, throw the script down and go, "Well, obviously this is of no, point." And
like Lou Grant said, "You got spunk."
Or you got spunk, right? But I didn't. And I finished the scene. And Betty doesn't even look back at me, and she goes, "Your screen test will be on Wednesday for Craig Montgomery. Go home. You look like hell." And she looked back up at the TV. And I thought, in that moment, had I allowed my ego, my arrogance, my stuff, I could have sabotaged that moment, sabotaged my career. But I didn't. I kept humble and I shut up.
Mm.
That part, Craig Montgomery, which for a daytime role particularly, incredibly beautiful part of complexity and depth that most actors don't get a chance to.
As the world turns, yeah.
As the world turns, and that launched my career.
Yeah. I mean, having that opportunity to be on that soap opera, that long-running beloved soap opera, I mean, you must have been really pinching yourself, I would imagine, huh?
Yeah, once
It's
it
like,
started, and then it was they didn't know what to do with the character sort of in the beginning, but then we dropped in, and there's Meg and Frank, and once that triangle happened, and I was the bad guy, I was the villain for 3 years, and then Meg left the show, and
that's right.
the late great amazing writer Doug Marland had a dinner with me, and he said, "I know you're thinking about leaving the show, but if you stay, I will turn you into the hero of the show, and I will guarantee you'll get a Best Actor Emmy nomination." And I thought, okay, Doug, that's really, I mean, it's lovely. You can promise the parts. You're not going to promise me the Emmy nomination, but okay. And I was touched by it, and I thought, let me try it. So I did 2 more years on the show. He did a masterful job of redemption of the character and brought in the role of Sierra, played by Finn Carter. And that love story exploded. I was working with, her mother, who's just astonishing, Elizabeth Hubbard. And I learned a tremendous amount from her. And at the end of that first year, guess what? I got a nomination for Emmy for Best Actor. Doug Marland was right.
That is incredible. That is incredible. People probably remember this scene very, very well.
Yeah. Who is that guy? What is that haircut?
I was going to say, yeah, but that's did the notoriety and attention become overwhelming at all for you, or were you embracing it? Because now, you're talking about soap opera fans are definitely diehard, and they know the characters, and then they want the characters to do certain things and be certain ways. What was that like for you, that adulation and the attention being in such a well-known series as the world turns?
At first it was a little disconcerting. I got a little paranoia stuff, people like recognizing you. Also daytime fans, it's very specific. If somebody recognizes me from a feature film, say, or a movie, they usually stand across the street and point. If they recognize you from a primetime show, they're a little bit more forward, but still very respectful. And, I saw you on Chicago PD, for instance. I thought, oh, thank you so much. If they know you from daytime, you're in their living room every single day, 5 days a week. And so you're a member of the family. The problem is that you don't know that. So somebody walks over to you and suddenly goes, hey, because it's a very familiar thing.
You're on the covers of magazines.
Right, but I'm also in their living room and they're in their underwear. So there's a certain familiarity that doesn't happen in primetime or film. And it's a very specific fan base, which of course has shrunk dramatically over the years. When I first left As the World Turns, they were panicking because the audience had dropped down to 18 million viewers.
That
was panic. And now a primetime show, if you get 6 million, you're ahead.
Then they're happy, right? Those days of little Ricky being born and 50 million people watching on I Love Lucy are, because everything is so fragmented and all. But you've parlayed that, right? I mean, you've been working on projects that are on various venues, of course, Hallmark being one of them. We have a lot of fans here who are lovedies who love Hallmark. You just worked on a project that's airing in September, right? It's kind of exciting.
It was the first project back after 18 months. I was very, very, there's Rochelle. Rochelle H. She's just remarkable talent. This is really, she's the lead of the show with Keith Robinson. I play Dan Birch. And this was executive produced by Judy Smith, who created Scandal. If you recall that show. And that was her background. That was actually what Judy did. And she's executive producing this with Marguerite Henry. And it was done up at Umbra Studios up in Newburgh, New York, which is run by Tony Glazer and Summer Moore, who were also producers on it. And that was amazing, just to go up to upstate New York to actually just get back to work was a wonderful thing. And the show is really good. It's a wonderful mystery. I play a pillar of the community that I am loved by all, but that's all I'll say.
But that could change. That could change from pillar to
pillory. So we'll.
You have also had opportunities to work with so many extraordinary veterans in the industry. One of which, Candice Bergen, and on with Murphy Brown. Tell us about what that opportunity was like.
Well, first of all, that was an amazing show at the time. And I love Candice. And, Candice is multiple generations in the business as well.
Yeah.
And so we kind of related on that, just that we grew up in it. And that gave us a commonality to start. She is one of the most gracious and loving and supportive people there are. The show was brilliantly written. I loved everybody on it. Joe Regalbuto, everybody. Faith, of course. When Faith Ford, when Corky and I played, sure, what was my name? She was Corky Sherwood and I was Will Forrest, and that made her Sherwood Forrest. That joke got played for several seasons, but I had a blast. And it was a really good time working with those people. And I was simultaneously, it was sort of a wonderful time in my career. Things were really popping, and I was doing recurring role on Murphy Brown in this incredible hit comedy. Simultaneously, I'm doing a recurring role playing Jack Pavlik, an attorney on LA Law. And so I had this heavy drama and the comedy both at the same time, sometimes airing simultaneously during the week. And that was such a blessing. I mean, I've been, again, so lucky to work with the people that I've worked with who have been amazing throughout.
Absolutely. Comma. Well, I guess that's if you take comedy and drama put together, you got a comma. Comma, that's new. Instead of dramedy, it's comma. Write that down. That's new. You heard it here first on JMS Live.
You pointed, Jim.
That's it. I tell you, that's how Lovity came out. I just spurred it out, and now the whole thing's Lovity. Comedy. Do you enjoy comedic roles, comedic pieces?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very different way of working. In some ways, it's exactly the same. You still have to have the inner truth. You still have to believe what you're doing. But in drama, you are in it. And in comedy, how I try to explain it is, it's almost like you're skating on the ice. You're just above it. And there's timing. Everything in comedy is very, very musical. And to make the laughs work, you need that sense of timing. Not every actor has it. It's a funny thing. And if you have it, and if you've got that moment, you can sail. And so in many ways, I find comedy is less exhausting. I don't have to go through the torture. Or if you are tortured, it's comedic torture. I'm not like, I didn't get a horrible diagnosis. I got a horrible diagnosis. It's a very different thing.
Right. We're on the soap opera. You get a horrible diagnosis every third week.
Actually, it's every day. There was a funny moment. I was a young actor, and Larry Brigman, who is an actor that I truly admire and respect, and he played John Dixon on the show, and he's iconic among actors, particularly New York actors. And we were at rehearsal, and it was a Friday, and I had repeated myself like every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and now I'm on Friday. And I look at the producer and I go, why am I saying this again? I said this on Monday. I said it on Tuesday. I said it on Wednesday, Thursday. Now it's Friday. Why am I saying this again? And Larry Brigman stands up and says, because our audience is doing this, vacuuming the rug, and he can't hear you. And I thought, oh my God, that's so funny. And that changed too, because the shows were originally designed for an American culture during a time in which men usually went to work and women stayed home. And that has changed dramatically. Women who had to fight to get their way into the workforce, now it's kind of like, man, 2 incomes? Yeah, no kidding. That's a given that women are working. And so that shifted our audience tremendously. The thing that damaged daytime the most, however, which is an interesting factoid, was the O.J. Simpson trial. The O.J. Simpson trial lasted
preemptions.
It lasted almost a year, right?
Yeah.
Or slightly over.
Yeah.
And all of the networks were cutting it and cutting to that. So the momentum and the addiction was gone. Like my dad said, somebody said, define soap opera. And my father said, well, the bullet leaves the gun on Monday.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have to, Friday, somebody's been hit, but you don't know who until the following Monday.
Right.
It's a speed that the audience isn't used to anymore. Then when we took away that addictive behavior of watching the show, What Happened Tomorrow, we lost half our audience and they never came back. And in some ways, news has replaced the soap opera thing. I mean,
yes.
The Menendez brothers, and then you've got Tanya Harding and the skating incident, and then there's all of a sudden all these things. I mean, who can beat Kato Kalin, the pool boy? I mean, this is like, really, it's like, how do you?
The soap opera was happening in real life.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it is. And then all of the Geraldo Rivera shows and, Jerry Springer and all of those types of shows popping up as well.
There's a fundamental business thing, which is with the advent of cable, we have hundreds of channels, and when your audience is diffused, and suddenly you're down below 4 million people, having a cast of 20 people who all have their own wardrobe and makeup and hair and props and sets becomes extraordinarily expensive in comparison to, or I got Jerry Springer.
Right.
You got one suit, one dressing room, one makeup artist, right? And if my ratings drop for Jerry Springer compared to what they were, but look how much money I've saved.
Right.
So in a way, it's a kind of, redoing the chairs on the Titanic, and it buys them a little time. But that diffusion is very hard for a soap opera to maintain its budget like that. Yeah.
And that's why. And there's only what's left: General Hospital, The Young and the Restless, and The Bold and the Beautiful, Days of Our Lives.
That's it. I think there's 4, and there were 12 back in my day.
Yeah, and so many coming out of New York too. Another World, and like you say, As the World Turns.
Nothing in New York anymore. The last 3 are LA. And again, I believe that's a real estate problem and budget. A studio space in New York City, very expensive.
It is, yeah. Did you guys film in Brooklyn?
The show did move to Brooklyn. I went back on the show just for a 10-month run towards the end of the show. I was asked to come in. I got a call from the executive producer. Would I do it? I agreed, and it was a tough thing. I hadn't realized how badly the shows had been hit by the budget constraints that they were under. Rehearsal time was cut. Everything was cut to just make it work. And it became very hard to do good work. And if you care about your work, as I do, I care about what I do. And that got hard. That got frustrating. And so that was like a sad 10 months as I was realizing this show is doomed. And when I left, it wasn't much longer after that. I think they lasted another 1.5 or 2 years.
Well, Sherry Larson in Kansas says, nothing was more irritating than news popping up in the middle of your soap opera. And now you got Maureen in Arizona intrigued, a pillar of the community loved by all but intriguing. And Merlin goes, Hallmark in Canada. What I would imagine too, while you were on the sets of soap operas and all these other fantastic shows and productions, you were really soaking in how it was being done. I know in my work, in my training, all the way from college up, I was always trained to be, like a utilitarian person, be versatile, learn just about everything you can about what everybody is doing. You might not be an expert at lighting. You might not be expert in the sales department, whatever it is, but at least know, honor, respect, appreciate little bits of what everybody does, because everybody's a cog in the wheel for the overall production itself or event or whatever it may be. So I would imagine, as I have done on sets and in studios over the years, I watch, I focus, I pay attention to what the director's doing, the producer's doing, what this person's doing, so you can learn different things in case they ever, grab you and say, hey, the other person is sick, they're out. Can you run in and just do this to help us get through this production, get through this project? And sometimes people say, well, no, that's not my area. I'm not going to. But I have found that it behooves you sometimes to at least know a little bit about everything and appreciate it. I would imagine, again, when you were on sets and in different scenarios, you were probably watching the process of it all too, and fascinated by how all of these things come together.
Well, first of all, I completely 100% agree with you. Indeed, my father did. So I was not allowed to act professionally until I had done everybody else's job. I had to work in makeup and props and electric and set and carpentry and box office and marketing and security in the parking lot. And as my father would say, if you just want to be an actor, then you're a victim. You're standing at home waiting for somebody to call you on the phone. If you want to be a content creator and you want to be a storyteller, then you need to learn everybody's business. And also, if you learn everybody's job, not that, again, as you said, not to be an expert, but if you learn everybody's job, you'll know how to help them. You'll understand what their problems are. It will make you a better team player. And as my father also said, even when you're the star of the movie, you're just a brushstroke in somebody else's painting. And that has stuck with me my whole life. And it's a really good lesson. First of all, it protects your own ego from thinking that you're bigger than you are. You're not. I learned the names of every member of the crew, and who's on electric, who's on sound, who's the camera people, who are they? We're all part of this. And how, if I'm approachable, I can solve a cameraman's problem with, Scotty, could you move over? Yeah, sure, done. And now I understand the director's problem. I understand an editor's problem. I understand why continuity has to be right. Why do I need to grab that coffee cup at the same time every time I do the scene, regardless of the camera angle? And editors have come to me later and said, thank you so much, man, because I didn't get trapped. You were always there. And so that's a really valid lesson in terms of also an understanding that we're all out to make one product. We're all out trying to make something that is bigger than us.
Yeah.
That kind of teamwork consciousness, I wish our whole country would have right now.
Yeah.
All trying to do something together. We're all trying to lift it up.
Yeah.
So I love that part of the business. I love that part of making movies. Indeed, I'm happier on a set than I am anywhere else, even with the crazy hours. It's like Al Pias said to me on that stage that day, do you feel like you're home? The answer is yes. And I walk into a set, I'm at home.
You're at home.
Yeah.
And when you get the positive feedback too, from the peers, from, I've talked about Emmy nominations, other awards and things of that nature over the years, people recognizing the work, not just from the fans, but from the peers. That is not the reason why we do what we do, but it is the icing on the cake. People recognizing the effort, the passion, the blood, sweat, and tears of it all. That must make you feel good. My father has always said, with his Irish humor, anytime anybody says something really positive, Jim, please ask them to put it in writing and address it management.
And again, as you know, you don't do the work for the award. You do the work for the work. Right. And if the award comes, great. But don't be chasing the spotlight. Don't be chasing stardom. Chase excellence. Chase what it is that you do with the best that you can, with the result at the end of the day that I did the best I could, that I'm proud of that scene. I'm proud of the work I did. And it doesn't always work. There's stuff out there that's pretty, that can be bad, but that's what happens. But I try my best. I also see, I've been very blessed. I mean, I tell this story a lot about how Michelle Pfeiffer changed things for me with the simplest moment. I got up close and personal where I played Rob Sullivan with Robert Redford and Michelle Pfeiffer. I was released from the movie 7 times because the studio didn't want to hire a television person. In those days, there were a lot more boundaries. Daytime was one thing, primetime TV, one thing, feature film, something else. And there were moats and walls that you had to cross. Today, your telephone screen is as important as the big one, and the rules have almost evaporated. But at the time, it was very tough. So John Avnet, the director, really wanted me in the movie. I had to keep coming. I had to go do the table read when everybody else had the part and I didn't, because John knew that if I was sitting between Robert Redford and Michelle Pfeiffer at the table read and the studio watched it, they'd give me the job, which is indeed what happened. So first day of rehearsal, I go in and I have 2 days of rehearsal with John Avnet, Robert Redford, Michelle Pfeiffer, and myself. That's it. 2 days. I'm in actor heaven. I can't believe this has happened to me. I'm working with 2 of the greatest icons in feature film history. I sit down at the table and we're about to start, and the PAs arrive with coffee, and they put down coffee for Michelle, coffee for Robert Redford, and a coffee for John Avnet, and they turn and they start to walk away. Now, quick background on this. On the first day, I get a call from like the third AD who says to me, you got to go park at the Sony lot and then get a ticket, your parking ticket. Then you're going to take the company van over. You'll come over to Culver Studios, which is right next door, come through security, and we'll get you to your honey wagon, which for those of you who don't know, honey wagons are very tiny little dressing rooms, one right next to me. So I have no complaints about this. Again, check your ego at the door. What's important? Redford Pfeiffer. That's what's important. Right? So I do all this as I'm told, and I sit down at the table, and the coffee comes, and they put down coffee, and people start to walk away. And Michelle says, excuse me, with this, like that kind of edge. And people turned. And Michelle said, I think you forgot coffee for my co-star. And Robert Redford says, Scott, why don't you take mine? And I go, no, Bob, that's okay. No, Bob, that's okay. This is like, right? And then another AD comes over to me, panicking. How do you want your coffee? I said, black, no sugars. Do you want anything to eat? No, I'm fine. We start rehearsal. A couple hours into it, an AD comes over to me, is poking me, and they want my car keys and the parking ticket. And so I give it to them, not even thinking about it, because I mean, my focus is elsewhere. So the day ends, and 5 o'clock, we're going to finish. Michelle's got her kids waiting for her at her trailer, and we all sign out. Michelle signs out. Had a wonderful rehearsal day. Redford signs out. John Avnet is standing there. First AD comes to me, and he says, will you be requiring limousine service, or will you be driving your car to the studio? And I turn, and my car is parked at a star trailer right next to Michelle's. All because Michelle Pfeiffer said, I think you forgot coffee for my co-star. And I never forgot that moment.
That's incredible.
Since then, I do whatever I can to reach down and help up.
Right. I had something semi-similar, just where a car was being sent to me from Manhattan for work with PBS and, hosting and interviewing folks that were coming in for some of the PBS specials. And the town car or limo or what have you would pull up. And I was telling them at the TV studio in New York, I said, you don't have to send a car. I mean, I'll go on Metro North. I'll save you the money, use it towards programming and other things. Just don't worry about it. And they said, no, that's what we want to do. We want to send the car and everything. So a friend of mine who unfortunately is no longer with us, she passed about 2 years ago, Doris Silk, used to do casting for ABC. She lived in West Hartford, Connecticut. I was talking to her about it. I said, they're sending up a car and it pulls up right in front of the house and everybody looks out the windows and there goes Jim inside this car and whisked off to Manhattan. And I said, I told the studio, I said, you don't have to send the car. Don't worry about it. I'll hop on the train. I'll get there. Well, I'm thinking of them, saving them money. And she says, Jim, stop it. Number one, they're doing it because they think that, obviously you've earned it and you deserve it. And secondly, they're also doing it for them because they want to make sure you get there on time with no interference and no issues and traffic or anything, because they, union and everything, they have timing and there's a crew and they're at the TV studio and everything. She said, so when they send the car, go in it and don't say anything. just don't sit in the front seat.
Right. Right.
So,
Don't take back something they're giving you.
right. Exactly right. And it turns out, they send the cars for everybody, all of the talent, whether they were in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, the talent would have the car sent again, because it was part of what they do anyway. So, kind of cool. And so now, I don't sit in the front. I don't offer to drive.
Right. Don't. Right.
Here's another one people recognize, deception as well. Tell us about being involved in deception.
Yeah, that was a fun part. That was too bad that show didn't run. We all thought it was going to, and I played a complete and utter sociopath, is the best way to say it. He was head of a corporation, head of a pharmaceutical corporation, and had zero morality of anything except transaction. And it was so much fun to play. Ipec, I have a friend, I want to say hi, Ipec, from, so anyway, yeah, deception.
Welcome, Ipec. Yeah, Nielsen.
Ipec. We're Facebook friends, so nice to see you.
Welcome, Ipec, to the Jim Masters Show Live. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We would love it.
Yeah, deception was great. And as far as I knew, it was funny. I was playing it was supposed to be like a part, maybe one episode, maybe two. And suddenly there was 3 and 4. And on the 4th episode, I go up into this office, and it was unbelievable. It was exquisite. This corner office, high floor in Manhattan, incredible view. And everything is wrapped in plastic. It's brand new. You can't touch it. Can't touch chairs. Gorgeous. I'm like, whose is this? And the photographer goes, this is yours. And I went, oh. And then I sat down at my desk, and there was a stack of business cards that all had my character's name on them.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm no longer a day player when they print the business cards. That's and so they were really happy. I loved the part, and had it gone, it would have been amazing. And too bad it didn't. And in these days, it's hard to know why sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Here's another one they'll remember. Beacon Hill, the series. What was it like being a part of that?
Beacon Hill was fun. I did that because Hillary Bailey Smith, who played my sister Margot on As the World Turns, is not only in the show, but she's also one of the executive producers. So when your friend calls you and says, would you be in this? There's no way to say no.
Yeah.
It's a web series. It's very high end. Web series done really, really well, a good budget, and it was fun. It's about politics, and I play a conservative Republican. That's me in the middle between the TV antennas.
Yeah,
which is usually my comfort zone. And then one of them is my daughter, and she's being used by the liberal Democrats to run against, sort of against me, but she wants to get into politics, and she's gay. And I am deeply concerned about what's going to happen to her, that they're going to run her over the coals and ruin her life if she steps in. So it was fraught. We are both diametrically opposed politically, and she's my daughter. And I love her to the depths of my soul. And that was really fun to play.
And just talking about variety of roles, you were even on The Facts of Life.
Life.
Yeah.
Here's a little tidbit factoid. First of all, The Facts of Life was so much fun. How I got that part, it was about 2 weeks after I left As the World Turns. And I get a phone call from my agent and said, can you go to LA this coming week? I said, yeah, what for? She goes, well, it's a part on Facts of Life. And I went, oh, well, when's the audition? And she said, no, you're just going to LA. This is an offer. And I thought, oh, okay. And so I went, and they treated me like, I can't even tell you. It was gold. And there's Alex Rocco, the late great, who's such an amazing actor. And there's Nancy McKeon herself, who is such a wonderful, wonderful woman. And both she and her entire family welcomed me to Los Angeles and into their home. And it turned out that the girls all watched As the World Turns on their lunch break.
Yeah.
So when Craig Montgomery left the show, George Clooney had just left as playing her boyfriend, and Nancy said, "Bring me him."
Mm.
So next thing I know, I'm on a plane out to Los Angeles, and I'm on Facts of Life. And again, remember when I discussed about the differences between daytime was one thing and primetime another, and movies another? It was really hard to go from primetime to from daytime to primetime then, and that was a gift to me that Nancy just said here, and suddenly I had a primetime credit. Suddenly I was in Los Angeles on a recurring role in the show, and we got married on the show.
That's
and that
right.
was one of my. I think I've been married. I'm trying to remember how many. I want to get all the wedding photographs because I think there's a lot of them. It was like Meg Ryan, and then there was TV Dad. I got married. Then Corky Sherwood. I got married, and then Nancy McKeon and I are married, and then Marie Wilson and I are married. That's 5 so far. I think that Finn Carter, there's 6. So I think it's like 6 or 7 weddings I have, which would be really fun to put them like all next to each other. It would look like the guy his marriages don't last very long. But
wow. I tell you, the real dedication when you have fans that are dedicated and follow you in all these different projects, productions, from television to film to theater. Jen Barry, watching us as always, one of our lovelies. She's actually in Allentown, Pennsylvania, having pizza in the mountains in a field tent camping, watching our show right now. That's dedication.
Wow. Camping and watching the show.
That is dedication.
That's amazing. And that's you're right near the area where my father was born. Actually.
Oh, really? Yeah.
My grandfather on my father's side was a coal miner, Scottish coal miner, who emigrated here in 1920, and my father was born here in 1921.
You worked on this wonderful project, From Slavery to Freedom, Frederick Douglass. Tell us about that. I know that was near and dear to your heart to be a part of that.
Yeah, Chris Campbell, who is the owner of Palace Digital Studios and was the executive producer of it, and created a series called Young American Heroes. And we did 3 episodes of it for PBS. And again, I don't know why it didn't move forward. There were a couple of issues with it, I think. But the premise was, where were there young people in American history that changed history? And certainly Frederick Douglass is one of them. As was Elijah Stockwell, who was like, I think he was 14 years old when he went to war. Sybil Lovington, who was maybe just 16 when she did a Paul Revere ride when the British invaded Campo Beach and Westport to raid on Danbury. So the next one was going to be the Pony Express, in which I did not know almost 90% of the riders in the Pony Express were under the age of 12. They were 11-year-old boys because they were so light. And that's why they did that. So Frederick Douglass was the first, and that was an amazing, amazing project. And Jamie Hector of The Wire played Frederick, and he was extraordinary. He's a remarkably talented actor. He understood, as he came into it, he told me, he said, I have a real responsibility when it comes to this part. And I just so respected that and admired that. His approach to it was, okay, this is important. And this was of an important time. And Frederick Douglass, a slave who got his own, took off, was able to get himself free, had somebody give him some sailor papers. He escapes to the north. He goes to Europe. He becomes a college-educated man and comes back and works for freedom for his people and for emancipation of the slaves, and is dining at the White House with Lincoln. I mean, that is an extraordinary journey and almost impossible. And so that was fun to work on that show. Yeah, it was beautiful. We shot it all in Connecticut.
Yeah, very beautiful project to be a part of. This as well, too, Voices of Sculpture. Tell us about this.
Yeah, J. Seward Johnson, who sadly passed this past year.
Yeah.
He's of the Johnson & Johnson family. And he took a large chunk of his fortune and he bought the old fairgrounds of the New Jersey State Fair. And UPS was building their giant facility right next to it, and they were dumping all this dirt. They didn't know where to put it. And he and his designers said, bring it here. And so they made an incredible 12-acre, maybe it's 20-acre, sculpture park on the fairgrounds that used to be there. And they had an atelier that came in, and sculptors from around the world who are recognized are able to work there and present their work as well. So we shot it even before drones. So I had lots of crane shots, which we would now do by drone. But
Yeah.
an extraordinary park. It is an extraordinary place to talk about. And I had the blessing of interviewing 100 artists from around the world about their work that went into the documentary. And so, again, how blessed can I be? I'm a producer director, and part of my work is to learn and meet and grow from these remarkable people around the world that I've been able to encounter. Thank you.
Yes, right. Blessed as always, and blessed with a loving partner as well. We mentioned, of course, Jody Stevens.
Jody and I met in a casting director's office. We were in Darren Starr's office, and the show back then was Central Park West, and we were both auditioning for it. And I did not know that Jody knew who I was. She was a fan of As the World Turns. I guess I didn't know who she was. She's a Broadway babe. She was in the original company of Jekyll and Hyde. She took over the leading role eventually. She was in the original company of Urban Cowboy, and remarkable talent. And anyway, so there was like lots of heat, but I was dating somebody and she was dating somebody, and I don't cheat. And I didn't know. We were sort of like, it was very intense and obviously flirtatious, but I left and I said to her, go get that job. And she did. And she was a recurring role on Central Park West. So about 4.5 or 5 years later, that was in Central Park West, was New York. I'm now living in Los Angeles, and I'm coming home with 2 cups of coffee to my apartment. And on a balcony of the building right next door to me is Jody. And she's sitting on the balcony, and she looked at me, and I looked up at her and I went, hi. And she said, hi. And we went swimming at the pool that afternoon. I think we had a date a couple of nights later. And then we were dating inexclusively for quite some time. There was a woman I was involved with in Brazil, talk about a long distance. And after almost a year, Jody said to me, I know that you need your freedom and all that stuff, but I can't do this anymore. I'm really falling for you and it's too painful. And I looked at her and I was like, okay, let me think about that. She went to Europe. I had to go see her in New York. I told her I would meet her in Central Park at Strawberry Fields. If anybody knows where that is, 72nd Street. It was an October day. It was beautiful. I don't have my phone with me. I'm looking for blondes. I'm in Central Park looking for blondes. There are like thousands going by me every moment. I don't have my phone. I'm not going to see her.
Good thing you weren't in LA. It would be even tougher.
Right, exactly. And just then the sun moved between the Dakota and the building across the street on the Dakota on 72nd Street, just as Jody was entering the park. It was like gaffing by God, as if lighting director by God. This blast hits the back of her head, and this aura comes off of her head, and she's walking in the park, and she sees me, and this huge smile comes over her, and out of my mouth come the words, my wife. And that was it. That was when I knew.
Now, that didn't come out of your mouth because it was in so many scripts where you got married previously.
No.
This was the real deal.
Yeah, and it wasn't, I got to tell you, it wasn't like super amazing, oh my God. It was this almost like a drop-in, like something just centered.
It was very grounding. And
very grounded. I was like, my wife, and I realized there she is. That's it. That's the face I'm going to be with for my life. There's my partner. And we got engaged that summer and got married. That we've been married 18 years. We have a 14, about to be 15-year-old, 6'2" basketball playing son. How did that happen? Yeah. And again, one of the great lucky blessings of my life.
Yeah. Blessed for sure, my friend. Really. It's, and you teach and you like to mentor others and inspire others as well. That's a whole other side. I know that because you and Jody team up on that. Tell us a bit about some of that for those who don't know that, they know you as the performer, they see you in television, film, on stage, that you like to inspire others as well and teach.
I do. And as is true in so much of life, Joe, and I'm sure you're going to know this as well, it's when you give and you just give fully without expectation, without anything, without wanting, without expecting, you just give. it is amazing what comes back. It is just incredible. It's as if the universe, and you have to really mean it. You can't
Right.
you can't like be, well, I'm giving. You have to just live, and then it just happens. So one of those things, yes, and I work with a new paradigm theater. For instance, when I directed Oliver, we like to think out of the box. So we do different kind of casting, sort of Hamilton before Hamilton.
Yeah.
So we did Oliver. We set Oliver, the classic musical. I had Paul Bogave, who multiple Grammy and Tony winner, musical director, who also played the guy who Fagin. We had a black Oliver, we had a Spanish Nancy, and I had a transgender Artful Dodger. We turned the music, we updated it and gave it a hip hop edge, and then we brought in Maria Chernisky to choreograph hip hop. And it was set in modern day Bridgeport. It was unbelievable. We had inner city kids working with very affluent kids. That had its own cultural problems, and yet great gifts from that as they formed this unit, as they formed their own family. And there again, we live in a separated world. We don't have to be. On Hunchback, the reward was deeply profound and unexpected. In Hunchback, normally the voices of the gargoyles are members of the choir. Hunchback is a beast of a show. It's huge. I had a 15-piece orchestra, 14-member choir. And then because we had the gargoyles as characters, we used our kids, the inner city kids, the kids we know, and we reached out. A lot of our children were autistic, probably half. Now we do breakout workshops, women rehearsals. It's not just rehearse the show. It's learn stuff. It's learn choreography, learn playwriting, learn editing, learn whatever. Little master classes. One of the classes we had was on mask making. So the gargoyles made their own masks. Something profoundly magical happened on the first day we used the masks, because autistic children, many of them, have a very difficult time with contact, both eye contact, actual presence. They feel challenged by it, unsure how to communicate. They put the masks on and it all vanished. They were able to look at each other. They were able to be. That is, gargoyles, they would move fluidly with Quasimodo. Patrick Toombs played Quasimodo, extraordinarily gifted actor, who also is handicapped. His legs didn't grow as a child. So he has to wear these braces. If things get dicey, he falls down. The first time it happens, you're terrified. Then it's just like, oh, Patrick fell again. The kids related to him in an incredible way. By opening night, these kids were unbelievably connected to the show, connected to him. I had parents sobbing in my arms. And now 3 of those children are on our youth board. And the next show, we're featuring them. So kids that at first couldn't even be at the table read, they were too terrified of everybody, are now starting off musical numbers 2 musicals later. So what we do works. And that gift of seeing those kids perform and then seeing those kids step up was so amazing. I mean, it gives you chills. And to be able to witness that, and I wouldn't have seen that unless I was there. Yeah. And I didn't expect that. And the parents didn't expect that. But that's opened up a whole new school of thought for us. And we're starting that exploration about creating theater workshops for special needs people, particularly people who have cognitive or connective issues. Yeah. And if we can make that happen in a safe environment, you know, what could happen with that? Let's see what mask theater does. Let's see what mime does for somebody who has trouble communicating. And let's see if those magic can happen again. So that's what we're after. That's what we do. We inspire kids. Our children are our next generation. Our children are the answer for our problems. So let's give them the tools they need. And that's all of them. That's not just our rich, privileged kids. That's all of our kids.
Very beautiful. This is like legacy work that you're doing, truly is. And, you know, you never realize sometimes who you're inspiring until you do the work. And you've had these opportunities and lots of inspiration in your life too. And paying it forward in the way that you're doing, you and Jody, is absolutely fantastic. Really, really terrific. Probably one of your greatest roles in your career doing that, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, when you are, sitting in opening night up in the lighting booth, looking at, first of all, a musical is impossible. It's probably second to invading a country. Just pulling it off in the time frame that we have is remarkable. But to look at these kids who are working, by the way, we mix them in. We have professional Broadway adults that come in, and then we mix and match. We bring in kids that are amateurs, and they learn from the pros by working through it. So we have a minimum amount of equity contracts, and those equity actors step in at the last week of rehearsal. So we have a 3-week rehearsal process. 2 weeks are for non-equity, which includes our understudies. Then the equity people, like a Gina Baez, who steps in to play Nancy, who's phenomenal talent. And I don't have to worry. I mean, it's like, I know she'll be here on Monday and we open on Friday and it'll be fantastic. And to see that happen, to see them connect with the kids as well and to reach out. I had one girl, her first name only I'll give you, Julia, and we finished the first run through of Hunchback. And Julia was in a real panic. And autistic children often can't be touched. They have a lot of nerve ending issues and noise and sound. And she was overwhelmed emotionally and she was freaking out. And I had stepped out and I came back in the rehearsal hall and I looked over, and our older girls that are part of our youth board, some of our privileged kids, frankly, who are amazing, were standing nearby her but not touching her. And her handler was coming in. And I walked towards her and I said, Julia, and she looked up at me, jumped and ran into my arms and threw her arms around me, hugging me. Her handler's jaw drops open like, what? And I said, are you upset? And Julia goes, yeah. And I said, are you upset because she died? And I go, yeah. And I go, okay, well, here's some cool things. Esmeralda didn't die. Esmeralda never existed. This is just a made up story. And Gina is standing right over there having a cup of coffee, so you can see she's okay. But Julia, all that emotion that you felt, that if you bring that to the stage and you're a character watching her die, that's acting. And if you can feel it, the audience will feel it with you. So we had this service dog, and I said, do you want to go out with Charlie outside? And Julia looked at me, she says, what are you going to do now? And I said, well, we're going to have to run the show again, all the way from the top, all the way to the end, the whole thing. And she's going to die again. So if you don't want to do it, you can stay outside. And she thought for a moment, and she looks over at Gina and she looks at the cast. And then she looked right into my eyes and she said, I'll do it. And I said, awesome, Julia. That's the mark of a pro. And off she went. And
Wow.
Her handler, who's been working with her for years, I look over at her and her handler's crying.
Yeah.
And I looked at her, so are you okay? And she goes, she hugged you and she looked at you. And she's like, I've never seen that. Since then, she's exploded. And then we had her in Bye Bye Birdie 2 years ago. She started off the phone scene. And she like anchored the song from a girl who could barely communicate to, I can do this. So that moment, I can do this, sits with me in my heart. And we can all do this. We can do this. So that's what I say to our world. We will get through all of this.
That's right. Yeah. Together. Because I always say on this show, the earth spins a lot more smoothly on its axis when it's balanced, when we are together. We were placed here to be together and to share our uniqueness and our differences and our similarities and learn from one another. It's really important.
Threatened by each other.
Right.
So much fear and so much of that. And fear leads to anger and rage and violence and not being able to hear and closing things off. We also live in a world where it's very, disinformation is coming at us like a fire hose.
Yes.
People are hearing these things that just aren't true.
Right.
And we have to start to be able to trust each other. There aren't enemies out there waiting to take over the world. There's other human beings like us trying to survive and trying to do the best they can.
That's right.
And if we can all give each other, all of us give each other the benefit of the doubt. All of us decide, you know what? There's not enemies here. somebody who doesn't agree with me politically is not my enemy. He's my fellow citizen. And maybe I need to hear, and maybe I need to listen. Why does he feel that way? Not, you're wrong, I'm right. Stop. We need to stop. And we need to compromise, and we need to listen, and we need to not insult. And if somebody's terrified about getting a vaccine, insulting them isn't going to get them to the doctor any quicker. Compassion, empathy, and building trust. That might. So
beautifully said. No, that was perfectly said. I mean, it's yeah, perfectly said. I'm right there with you, my friend. Just want to show we have got a little bit of a treat here. We just want to show our audience some of your spectacular work.
Oh, there you are.
Of course, I'm here. Always.
Sorry to surprise you. I just wanted to check on Dad. How's he doing?
Well, he's stable but vegetative, totally unaware of his surroundings.
A man comes at night. He comes to the house and takes me.
Dad.
Okay, that's surprising.
The man represents a significant victory in the war on terror, thanks to our friends at the CIA. And putting aside for the moment that Sergeant Brody owes them his life, these are the facts. Bin Laden's dead. Now, America thinks, or wants to think, that this war is drawing to an end. Politicians are pushing for wholesale withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Remember how you tricked the owner of that toaster company into thinking you were his dead son, and he sold you the factory for $1? You are an animal. Dave the Animal Hess.
I was only as good as my mentor, the man who taught me how to bait the enemy. Jack, the master baiter, Donaghy.
It's all pay-per-view porn.
But do you know how much of our profit comes from men ordering adult movies? 91%. They churn this stuff out, people at home push a button, and we make money off it. We don't do anything.
Then what do you want with NBC? Why do you even want me?
Well, buying NBC counts as a charitable donation for tax purposes. You seem nervous. That makes me nervous.
No, I'm tired. This hasn't been easy.
This was your plan, Audrey. Foolproof. Isn't that what you told me?
Well, it got complicated.
Are you watching this? Where the hell are you? It sounds like Niagara Falls.
Julian Bauer's bathroom.
What? Why? Mission accomplished. Get the hell out of there. It's time to celebrate.
Frank.
Did you hear those reporters?
They made it sound like Robert killed Vivian. Holy crap. This is fantastic.
That's how planes take off, you know? Just at that point where the wind takes your hand up.
Really incredible.
That guy's pretty good. Who is that?
I tell you, he's an up and coming actor, the talk of the town. Hopefully, you'll have the great honor of working with him one of these days.
Or I play my own evil twin or something.
Or you play, when you look back at all that, not only does it show, the versatility and the variety and all the different roles you can take and how you immerse yourself in them, but what happens for you when you see, and that's again just a little snippet of an extensive, long body of work, but when you watch it, I love watching the guests when they're looking at their work and we're showing things and how they go into a zone and they're either remembering the moments or they're just reflecting and soaking it all in. How about you when you see some of that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm looking at the scenes from Deception with Paloma Guzman, who's like one of the most beautiful women on the planet, and an amazing talent and a wonderful person. Bernadette Peters. I'm just like, she pops on and then Rose. And I remember Rose asking me for a hug at one point. It was just the sweetest thing. And Bernadette and I connected because we knew the same people in New York. It was like, as my father said it so eloquently, he said, this is a horrible business filled with the most wonderful people. And it's really true. The people in this business, if you're lucky enough to work, if you're lucky enough to get it, because there's only a small percentage of us that are able to say we make a living at this. It is a brutally tough racket, and a very, very small amount of actors are as fortunate as I am to get to work consistently. And I've worked consistently throughout the decades, and I'm still doing it. It's kind of amazing. So when I'm watching my demo reel, I'm not necessarily watching my work. I'm remembering that day, or remembering that person, or remembering what I love about Bernadette, or what I love about Rose, or and those little snippets that are the off time, the laughs that we have off camera, that I have private memories of that people don't share. The 1 hour of television that gets shown, which is really 42 minutes of video, is from 8 days of experience, and to make that little thing. And so, for every actor you see on camera, there's 10 people behind the scenes.
Yes.
And those are all people you have relationships with, and that you get to know and respect and honor and learn from.
Yeah.
So again, I don't go to the same office every day. Look how many different uniforms I've worn. Look how many different jobs I've had. Look how many different people I've been able to be. So yeah, I'm not a master of anything. But I've touched on so much, and I've learned so much from being able to be. What does a major in the Army feel like? What does he think like? What is that? What has he been through? What makes that person think like we are? And as we do that as an actor, the characters that I play that are from so many different walks of life. I mean, think about the magic of theater. There's a great moment when the audience becomes a character. Now, this was told. My father got told this. He was doing. It was The Liar on Broadway, and the actor, the leading man, I can't remember who it was at the moment, asked my dad to be quiet. He goes, I'm listening. And then he was listening to the audience. And then he goes, they're a little late this night. We got to pick up the tempo. And my dad was like, what do you mean? He goes, they just became the one thing. He goes, what? Think about it. We go into a theater where all these different people, there's strangers. Nobody knows each other. We're all different walks of life, economy, all kinds of stuff. The house lights go down. We then witness humanity on the stage, hopefully, if you're working with a good play and good actors. And there is a moment in which that audience becomes one thing. They start to laugh at the same thing, cry at the same thing, feel at the same thing. In this communal way, in this way of congregation, almost as if it's theater as church, theater as temple, theater as where you can learn. That magic that happens when we're all together and we're sharing that common thing. If we could hold on to that during our daily life, boy, this planet would be a totally different place. Because we should understand that we all connect. And when I play some person from a culture I don't understand, and I have to go learn that culture, yeah, those are things to learn. They're important. They trigger how I think or what I do. But they don't change certain fundamentals about love, about hate, about pain, about loss, about joy. Those are all the same for all of us, no matter where we are on the planet. And as an actor, I get to have that sense of I'm part of something that's way bigger. And the United States of America boundary between Mexico and Canada, that's arbitrary and made up. These continental barriers are made up. And we give them these we give them these things as if they have weight. Well, from God's point of view, there's no boundaries. From God's point of view, we're all sharing this one spinning orb. And if we could have that more, I think we'd be a better place. And that's why I'm in the theater. That's that moment of connectivity that happens with humans. That's what lights my fire. That's the passion. And now when I'm on stage and I hear the audience do that, that's a moment of great gratitude and joy. If I'm working with Paloma Guzman on a scene and I look at her and we know, and the director says cut, and we just smile at each other. because I'm looking at this actress and she and I have just been in this moment together as two other people, but we know it was good. We know it was good.
Yeah.
And the director can come in and go, great, turn around, camera's moving. We know. Crew knows, you can feel it. And again, that connectivity of humanity that makes me so grateful that I'm in this business and not like, counting sheep or something. I mean,
Right.
I'm very lucky.
Beautifully said, and in so many aspects, and I'm sure the audience will concur. I thought I was hearing myself back because we're on the same wavelength, kindred spirits in terms of the communal nature and bringing everybody together. I say it often. I said, I'm very communal and communicative. That's why I do what I do, communicating as a host and on the air. And when we're in the movie theater and we're all seeing that Titanic sink and how we're all feeling the same thing at the same time, those are some of the most extraordinary moments in life because you feel so connected, and all the other nonsense and craziness of life and labeling and all these different things that boundaries, like you said, that we all create and attach to everything else, wipes away. And then it's just emotion. It's the humanity that is connecting us. And really, that should be happening more often. We should allow ourselves that space to let the humanity and the emotion come together and rise without all of that other frivolity that is out there that we attach to everything. So beautifully said, my friend. Beautifully said.
Also, in terms of seeking blame, I'm always reading things, this person or that person or this proves or whatever, and I'm like, when the house is on fire, put out the fire.
Right.
Then we'll figure out how the fire started.
Right. First, put it out. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then who left the bacon cooking on the stove? That's a whole separate issue.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the fire out. And we have got a bunch of raging fires, both metaphorical and literal, on our planet.
Yeah.
I hope we're paying attention because we have all the answers. We have every answer we need to move forward. We are not stuck. We need to just open our brains, stop counting the cash, and start looking up at what this miracle of creation, regardless of your faith base, even if you don't believe in anything, this is all some random freak of nature. That randomness is awesome.
Yes.
So let's see if we could protect it because, oh my gosh, we're killing it. We're killing our mother, and we don't have to.
That is so true. Absolutely right, my friend. Absolutely right. Couldn't have said it better myself. Question came in from Anais, who's actually watching us, as she always does, from Paris, from France. She goes, hello, Scott. Have you ever hesitated to play a role before accepting the role? That's interesting.
Yes. And the more I am in my career, the more so I do that. If I read the whole script, people say, can we just send you the sides if you're auditioning for a part? And I'm like, no, I need to see the whole play. And not because I have to necessarily agree with the politics or the principles of the play. I just want to make sure, A, it's decent enough and good enough to put my work in it, and that it's not saying something that goes against my core values. That I won't do. And I've turned down there was a movie that was done and it was made. It was about a pedophile, but I looked at the scenes where he was committing his crimes and I thought there's no way to shoot these scenes without damaging a child. I don't want to be involved. And so I backed out and the agent was like, no problem. And the movie went on and got made and was well received, whatever. It doesn't matter. That I couldn't do it. And so the answer is yes, I hesitate. And the older I get and the closer I get to my pension, the more I seem to be hesitating. I want to make sure it's hard.
Make sure it meets your constitution and reflects you and right, exactly. And the
last job I just had, I didn't even have to audition for Redemption at Cherry Springs. My agent got a call from Judy Bowman, the casting director. That was an offer. And that's first of all, in our business, so for those of you who don't know, that is an extraordinarily high compliment.
Yes.
to come. So there was no audition, no meeting. Like, do you want to play the part? I said, send me the script. I read it. I liked it. Yeah, I'm in. And then I saw who was involved. And and Rochelle's astonishing in this. She's a captivating star.
Merlin in Canada, and there she is calling now, saying thanks for those compliments.
I've got to turn up. That's Andy Behar, who directed TV Dad, one of my first films that I actually co-wrote about a guy who knew he was going to die, and so he left behind money, a sperm bank deposit, and miles of video of anything he could possibly think of, including fights, Why is the Sky Blue, Let's Do Math, and Annabelle Gurwitch played my wife in it, and that was many years ago. But yeah, that was him.
Coincidentally. But tell him we all said hello from the Jim Master Show Live. Merlin says, good for you, Scott. She's watching in Canada. Maureen in Arizona, very perfectly said, Scott. Alessandra, North Carolina. Scott, you're now part of the Lovity family here at the show. Welcome to the family. And Christine Clifton, also in North Carolina, USA, says, Scott, you are definitely a true Lovity. I love that. Jen Barry in Pennsylvania, in the tent with Ken. Can we have Scott back? I like him. Smiles from Ipec. We love that. Juanita, South Africa, says amazing career and versatility. Really nice. Merlin also says congratulations on many roles that you have played, and that's the versatility. Love that. And Joan Sandow saying, thank you, Scott, for sharing your life with all of us. God bless you. Really beautifully said from our faithful viewers here on the show. And Sherry Larson in Kansas says, thank you for joining us this afternoon. You are wonderful and are doing amazing things.
Thank you.
Beautifully said. Scott, this really was terrific and a really nice, like I said, we do it sort of conversational freestyle, kind of Dick Cavett style. We just let it roll.
I got to tell you, Jim, and to thank you, I rarely feel comfortable during interviews. And as you said, when you started this out, I want to go old school the way that was to make this a safe place where it's a warm, friendly place. We're not here to get hostile or trap anybody. Let's just talk. And I feel like we've done exactly that. You're an amazing host. You put me right at ease. Your voice, my father was the voice of Time Magazine for like 4,500 commercials. But you didn't know that.
That was him? Yeah.
Here's what put me through school. I watched him do this. We go into New York. He hadn't even shaved. He looked horrible. And we go into the Brill building in Manhattan and up to the studios. And they say, do you want cans, Ed? Which is headphones.
Yeah, headphones.
And we go sit down and he goes, all right, you want to do it? He goes, yeah. Member FDIC. Thank you, Ed. We left. 10,000 thanks. That put me through. And I remember looking at that going, wow, you do that for a living? Really? That's
It's kind of like, where's the beef? That's all you have to say is that. Isn't that amazing? We just had a couple of nights ago, Harlan Rector, another legendary voice actor, caricaturist, author, and he was the voice of one of the first voices of the History Channel and so many others. There was really fantastic resonant sounds that just sort of grabbed you. They didn't have to yell. There's a lot of yelling today to get your attention. And then there were those who were just so smooth and can just bring you in just by speaking. They didn't have to force it and push it on you. And
look at a real movie star. I remember my dad talking about he was doing The Wrong Man with Hank Fonda, and he's watching Hank Fonda in the courtroom. And he does this scene. And it's just one speech, and he's watching the rehearsal. He's like sitting from the back, looks, and he goes, and then Hitchcock goes, print it. And my dad's like, what was that? Was nothing. That was a nothing burger. There was nothing there. Then he goes to see the movie, and there's Hank Fonda doing almost nothing, and it was 100,000% compelling and riveting and profound and beautiful.
Yeah.
So if you have simple truth and your truth is profound, you don't need to yell. If you're yelling, it's because you're not quite confident about what you're saying.
Exactly right. Exactly. Beautifully said. I mean, God, are you sure you're not my cousin or something? I mean,
All this stuff to say.
I was going to say, it's where you rehearse this. He knows his scripts. You know, I wanted to ask this earlier, but before, we tie things up, because I know you got to check to see if the lawn was mowed.
Yeah.
Actually, Merlin says that. Now you can check to see if your son did a good job doing the lawn.
Yeah.
I had always heard those soap opera scripts were like this thick, and you had to memorize so much material that for some it's overwhelming. Is that what it's really like?
Yeah, it is really like it. And if your front burner story, it's very intense because you don't have 1 or 2 scenes, you got 6. And they're long, and it's, suddenly you're memorizing 25, 30 pages of dialogue. It's very intense. There was an actor, I won't give away his name, but he was a movie star, and he was on the show, and we came to the first day of rehearsal, and we were blocking some stuff, and he knew I was a star on the show, so he felt comfortable, and he came over and he had the script, and he said, "Hi, how much of this are we doing today?" And I looked at him and I said, all of that.
All of it.
And the blood like drained my face. Because in Hollywood, if you get 2 minutes of film a day for a movie, you're flying.
Yeah.
And now in a soap opera, no, there's 62 pages today.
Yes.
It's like, and it's very, very intense, and not everybody can do it. And
Yeah.
I'd also say, given the circumstances of the lack of rehearsal, the lack of time, the lack of everything, if you see good acting on a soap opera, that's a really good actor.
Yeah, that's a good actor. Yeah, absolutely. And you're in that category, my friend, for sure, in that category, and have loved every ounce of it. There is somebody that was with us this afternoon, Scott, and I don't know if you've seen on previous episodes, but he just wanted to say that you've done all right, kiddo. Mr. George Burns is in the house.
Oh, George. Oh.
That's the reaction I get every time I show him towards the end.
One of my favorite George Burns lines. They said to George, like, how do you feel, George? He was probably like 80 something at the time. He goes, what's your morning routine? And because they were trying to figure out how you live so long. And George says, I get up in the morning, I read the papers. If I'm not in the obituary, I make coffee.
Yeah. That's it.
And talk about ahead of his time. Like, you remember that show, right? George Burns, Gracie Allen. First of all, loved his wife. He actually said, my entire career rests on one comedian, and her name was Gracie.
Yes, he knew.
But ahead of the time, you remember, he would leave his house, walk out with his cigar, go up to the room above the garage, turn on the TV, and we'd watch what Gracie was doing down in the living room.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
So ahead of its time. That was he was the Truman Show before the Truman Show.
He was, absolutely. He played God too, remember, in the movie? So he sends his best, and he said, you're doing all right, kiddo. This was amazing, my friend. We chatted for about an hour and 45 minutes. And I know it stuns everybody. They're like, wow, it never feels like that. It doesn't feel that way. And I'm glad that it doesn't. Let's see, Alessandra, what are some of our viewers saying? Jim, you should get an award for all the great chats you have, for all of the videos you have done. Thank you very much, Alessandra. Juanita in South Africa says, this was an amazing conversation. Thank you, Scott, for sharing your wonderful career and stories with us, all the way from South Africa. And Maureen in Arizona, not only have you had an amazing career, but your heart is in the right place. I admire your passion for helping to make the world a better place. May your star continue to shine even brighter. And that's from Maureen, who has been on the front lines with everything, a nurse in Arizona, getting ready to retire after.
Thank you for that, Maureen.
Yes.
In these very tricky days, and may God bless all of our first responders dealing with what we're dealing with. And let's pray for our troops who are trying to rescue people in Afghanistan.
And the hurricane coming in the south and all of this. And Jen cuts to the chase. I love the wooden beams above you on the ceiling.
This is my office. Cool. We're in my office, which is above my, there's my writing desk, and there's the entrance downstairs to the kitchen. So this is my little hideaway, my man cave, if you will.
Very nice. Very nice. That was a little, I like that. It was like Edward R. Murrow going into your home, like he did with Lucy and Desi and Jerry Lewis.
And
Little
now
of
I'm
that.
friends with Lucy's daughter.
Oh, Lucy and us is wonderful.
Well, Lucy and I played her husband in a movie. It's how we met, and we became fast good friends, and we're still close.
Yes, and through Sean too, and David, and this whole group of fabulous friends that we're blessed to have as well. And there's a new movie coming out that is involving Lucy and
with
Desi.
Nicole Kidman playing Lucy. Yes,
yeah.
It's a Aaron Sorkin script and project. Aaron Sorkin is a magnificently brilliant writer. Brilliant.
Oh, I wish that that series, I think it was on HBO, Newsroom, I wish it continued longer. That was such a riveting, I really enjoyed watching Newsroom.
Still one of my favorite scenes is we're not the best country in the world anymore. Jeff Daniels on stage, and do you remember that scene?
Yes.
Brilliant writing.
Jane Fonda, I believe, played the head of the television network, and just good stuff. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me.
Exceeded it, Jim. I had a great time. I think you're awesome at your job. It was a total pleasure being here. I need to plug one more time Redemption in Cherry Springs on the Hallmark Mystery Movie Channel on September the 12th with the incredible Rochelle Aites and Keith Robinson. And it's really fun.
And you are looking, everybody watching around the world right now, at the pillar of the community. We shall find out. I'm very like, is that little Mike Myers?
1 billion.
Now they're really going to have to watch, and Hallmark's ratings are going to be through the roof as a result. Just a couple more final comments here. Christine Clifton says, Scott, thanks for sharing so many stories with us. You're a fabulous storyteller, which is what all of this is, storytelling. You truly deserve all the many roles you've had in your career. Thanks for giving back and making a difference. And thank you for your time, Jim and Scott. This truly means a lot. And Jen needs to, oh, yes, and God bless and protect the troops as well. And Jen asks, this is a question Jen always asks before we wrap, if she remembers to ask. My Zen place, other than being with loving family and friends, of course, is the ocean as far as a physical location. Growing up, out east on Long Island, surrounded by the ocean, here, like where you are, southern New England coast, ocean. Is the ocean a Zen place for you? The mountains is her place. She's in Pennsylvania, in the mountains of Allentown. Or is there somewhere else that is Zen for you?
For me, it's actually the ocean too. And I don't think I could live in Colorado
like in the inland areas.
You know what I mean? But I need to be near the coasts. I need to see that. There's a power in the ocean and a serenity that I find there.
They're laughing because they're like, are we listening to Jim 2? Is this Jim 2? I say the words that I say are exact. Really amazing stuff, my friend. You go check to see if the lawn is mowed. I haven't heard any mowers since we started.
Well, I did go. I mean, when I was almost late here, I was outside because I wasn't hearing anything, and I walked out. He was just.
And then I heard it all of a sudden start revving.
Well, no, he says to me, it won't start. And I go, what? I said, is that a gas? He goes, no, I checked. It won't start. It won't start. It's not going to work today. So I walked over to it. I went, boom, started right up.
It's funny how that works, huh? It's all in the pull. I'm
sure if anybody out there who has teenagers, you can relate to this.
Yeah, it won't start. That is funny. Well, I hope we see each other again soon. I'm sure at an event or, with our friends. This really was fantastic. Wishing you continued blessings and joy to you and to Jody, everybody, your son, the whole family. Hope to see you guys real soon again. And truly, this was a lot of fun. A little Dick Cavett style, Carson style, a little Ralph Edwards, This Is Your Life, all rolled into one here. A little Regis Philbin in there too.
I respect and admire what you're doing, Jim, and you made me feel very at home. So thank you.
My pleasure. Now I say to all the guests, and upon our departure, go stretch those legs and get the circulation going.
Yeah.
You enjoy the weekend and say hi to Jody.
Remow the lawn, so
You got to remow the lawn. That's right. Well, at least it's only like 72 degrees and it's not like 99 like it was the last 4 days. Oh my God. Christine Scott was a lovety before he knew he was a lovety. He certainly spreads lovety. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Scott, thanks for all the time. You enjoy the rest of your weekend, my friend, and we will keep that porch light on for you. Spread the word about the Jim Master Show Live. I would love that. And you're welcome back anytime, and we hope to see you again soon, okay?
thank you, sir. Be well.
Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Don't forget to join him on the 12th of September. That is, of course, this year for Redemption in Cherry Springs, Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. So on the 12th, I think we have a show on the 12th, so I'll try to talk fast on the 12th with the Jim Master Show live at 8. Yeah, so that's going to be cool. That's on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. He's involved in that. And really cool career, really cool career. I want to show you, and we'll mention a few more things before we go, but I want to show you something really cool. Our guest coming up tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific is the extraordinary singer and actress Connie Jackson. And she had this she wanted to say.
Hey everybody, Connie Jackson here. Hey, this Saturday, I'm going to be talking to Jim Masters on the Jim Masters Show Live. And it's broadcast worldwide on YouTube. And you can actually talk to us in the chat. It's going to be a fun time. I can't wait. Maybe we'll sing a little a cappella. What? Join us Saturday, the 28th. It's 5 o'clock Pacific time. So wherever you are in the world, you're going to have to figure that out because I don't know. Anyway, hope to see you guys there. Bye.
So that's 5 Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. Connie's with us, and she's worked with some of the greats in the music industry. Some amazing, all the big names you're talking about. She's performed with them, and she's a brilliant performer herself. She is going to perform live tonight. Got lots of music on a Saturday night and great conversation and chat and levity. Coming up next week, we've got an extraordinary array of guests, and one of our guests who has been in the Hollywood film and television industry for 60 years. He's worked on some of the most incredible movies and television shows. He's a legendary Hollywood film director, screenwriter, producer extraordinary, Bruce Reisman. He's with us. He had these words in little preview promo he did for his guest appearance on the Jim Master Show Live, which is coming up next week.
Hey, lovities out there. How you doing? This is Bruce Reisman, and I am lucky enough to have been invited to the Jim Master Show this Tuesday, August 31st at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time for a live interview to talk about my career in Hollywood, Broadway, film, TV, and the stage. 60 years I've been doing this, and I have some great stories to tell, some secrets to tell, and some interesting stories about being on set, behind the scenes, and being in the writers' rooms where nobody else was, when nobody else was allowed. I'll talk to you soon. I look forward to seeing you. And Jim, thanks a lot for inviting me. I'm kind of camera shy, so help me hold my hand through this interview. Thanks a lot. It should be fun. Bye-bye.
We shall. He's a great guy, and he's got so many incredible behind-the-scenes stories, some stories that are going to surprise you, too, about being in the industry for 60 years, Hollywood, film, and television. Matter of fact, he wrote a script when he was 13 years old, and he submitted it to the producer of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and they used his script in that TV series. It's just one of the amazing stories that he's going to share on our show, the Jim Master Show Live, our show. While you're here, subscribe to this YouTube channel that you're watching right now. That is the home to the Jim Master Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. Our show is very different. It's unique. What we do is quite special here. I mean, there's a lot of things, that are out there, and a lot of video and all kinds of things. But I think what we do is quite special. We bring all of you in. It is unique. What we do is something different every day. We don't just throw videos up and that's it. We have conversations, we have levity, we have lovity, we have interaction, we have lots of surprises, we have variety, and a whole host of other cool things we do. This is like a television talk show, a variety show, as opposed to just interviews. Because sometimes we do pop-up shows too, where it's just us and we just have a good time. And that's what I love doing. So check in with a couple of you. We, again, will be back at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific with Connie Jackson, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. We thank once again our very, very special guest. I tell you, Scott Bryce really is amazing. And again, I'm sure you remember him from so many different specials. He was terrific. Great conversation, wouldn't you say, gang? I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Scott and I met at a couple of soirees, dinner parties with friends in New England, in the Connecticut, New York area. And really terrific. He and his lovely wife, Jody, are fantastic people, and great sense of humor as well. We talked about some of the shows over the years. Of course, prolific run on As the World Turns on CBS, that long-running soap opera as well. You're probably looking back. There's some of the incredible crew and staff and actors there, As the World Turns. All the times he's been married and all the different shows. He was very open and authentic, which I think is fantastic. And there he is, of course, with Jody. We hope to have Jody as a guest on the show as well. She's an extraordinary performer herself. Of course, we talked about him being on Murphy Brown and Deception as well. And just so many incredible things that he's been a part of. This here as well, another Beacon Hill, the series. We talked about that. And if you missed anything, just go back. And of course, even The Facts of Life, you remember on NBC. Another great series, that sitcom, and so many other incredible, very poignant projects as well. Scott Bryce in the house on the Jim Masters Show Live. And then again, coming up tonight, Connie Jackson is with us. There she is with Phil Collins, the one and only Phil Collins. She is going to be with us tonight on the Jim Masters Show Live. We love all of you, and we just want to say thanks, kind, generous supporter of you. Our cold brew coffee. Thank God I didn't make this hot coffee, because now, almost 2 hours later, this would have been what it is now, cold brew. And almost 2 hours without a sip. Matter of fact, Scott went almost 2 hours without a sip of anything. And sometimes if you watch often the guests, they'll be drinking a lot of water and a lot of liquid during the show. And then sometimes you end up seeing an empty chair because they have to scoot off for just a brief second because of all of the ingestion of the liquids. So this show is live right now. However, we archive everything on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. So you can see 460, I think it's 464 episodes, epic, unique, special episodes of this series. We have a ball presenting, producing, and hosting for you called the Jim Masters Show Live. Check them all out. There's some really incredible moments, lots of laughs, lots of entertainment, lots of cool surprise moments and more with me, all of you, and our guests. Quick reminder, Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, Redemption in Cherry Springs is coming on the 12th of September, Sunday. That's 2021, of course. And Scott Bryce is in that incredible new production. Good to have him here. We'll have him back for you guys. Christine Clifton says, Jim, thanks for this wonderful show with today's special guest, Scott. He is a superhuman being enjoying this conversation. His career is incredible, and so is his heart. Lovely. Hugs to all. He's had quite a career, hasn't he? From As the World Turns and so many other. Many people know him from As the World Turns, but of course, prolific theater career too. And he and his wife, Jody Stevens, another, again, brilliant artist, teaching others as well. And you didn't hear the lawnmower. Yeah, before we went live on the air, I heard the lawnmower going, and I said, is Scott mowing his lawn, or are there landscapers at their Connecticut home? And it was his son. But then I heard the lawnmower go off. Isn't that funny? His son said the lawnmower isn't working today. Is it the lawnmower that's not working today? And then Scott goes out. It's working. That is funny. What a great, cool tactic, huh? For his son. It's true. You're a great host, and your voice is like the best soothing American voice I've ever heard. Wow. Coming all the way from beautiful Paris, France. Anaya says that. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. It's really interesting. A lot of people note my voice often. I've been on radio for a long time, and also television. But my voice is It's kind of interesting, because sometimes when I answer the phone, when somebody calls, they will pause for a second because they think I'm the voicemail machine announcer, or the voicemail voice that comes on, hello, Jim speaking, that type of thing. So they pause because they're not sure if it's me live or if this is a recorded voice. I'm saying, hello, are you there? Jim, are you there? Like, yeah, it's me, I'm here. So they'll comment. I've done a lot of voiceover work too. Amazing. His dad was the voice of Time Magazine and many other things. It comes from, as he mentioned, a wealth of talent in his family. And, this is going to be a fantastic show. Can't wait. That's tonight. Connie Jackson. Thank you, Maureen and Juanita in South Africa. Another great guest. Thank you, Jim. Good night, everyone. You're going to love Connie Jackson tonight. She's amazing. She's going to perform live too. And she's a legend in the industry. Yes, he loves the mountains. You got your question in there about the mountains or the ocean. And he likes the ocean. You like the mountains. And I like the mountains as well. We're going to wrap up, gang. We have the other show coming up. It's about 5 after 5 Eastern time here. Again, blessings to all of those who are in the path of Hurricane Ida. Hurricane Ida seems to really mean business. So, we're praying for everybody that's in the southern part of the United States. That's an epic storm. They're talking Category 4. And Katrina, which did quite a bit of devastation, was a Category 3. So just keep praying for everybody, and anybody that's watching around the world right now. If there's anything going on in your life, in your world, well, we send you lots of levity, and stick with us here. Even though we've done over 464 shows in this year and 4 months together, we're just getting started. We have so many cool up our sleeve plans for this series. And having all of you here and knowing you're here, subscribing to our YouTube channel, giving this a thumbs up, like on our YouTube channel, commenting, telling everybody you know about the Jim Masters Show Live means the world to us, but also helps the series be projected out further and further. And that's what we want to have happen with this show. As more and more people watch, that allows us to then be able to deliver more content for all of you as well. More episodes. I don't call these videos, I call these episodes of a series that is quite amazing. You're the best. We love you all. We toast you all. We'll be back just a couple of hours, 5 o'clock. We're probably going to be getting together with some friends, and we're going to be doing a run, and with some family too. We're going to do some running along the coast. Then we're going to have dinner. We'll freshen up. We'll recalibrate our show, and then we'll be back. I'll be back, like Schwarzenegger said. I'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific with Connie Jackson. It's going to be really cool. If you want to know who else is coming up on the Jim Masters Show Live, all you need do, again, Connie is coming up tonight. Do want to remind you real quick, for those of you, in case you're not with us tonight, that coming up next week, Dina Martin Yes, the wonderful singer and actress, daughter of the Hollywood legend Dean Martin, is going to be with us for a special time at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Again, note it's a special time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. The one and only Dina Martin is going to be with us live this coming Tuesday. And then Tuesday night, as you heard him say in his little promo, Hollywood veteran Bruce Reisman is going to be with us. 60 years in the business. He's going to be with us Tuesday night. On Monday, extraordinary author Ziva Bachman-Flamhaft, who has a really riveting and incredible book out, War Widow. She's going to be with us coming up on Monday. So look for that on Monday. Tomorrow, Sunday, we have acclaimed violinist Marissa Licata. This came together very, very quickly. Her representatives love the Jim Masters Show live. They actually worked with us to get David Osmond on the show, you know, from the Osmond family. Yes, the nephew of Donnie and Marie Osmond, the son of Alan Osmond. He was on our show recently, David Osmond. We had an epic, very moving conversation with him. Well, their representatives contacted us again and said, we have somebody else we want to send your way. We love your series. We love the way you do the Jim Masters Show live. It's so different. It's so unique. It's so special. It isn't just a quick interview. It's really groundbreaking stuff. And we appreciate them saying that. We would love to have Marissa come on the show. So she's going to be with us tomorrow. Special time, Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. That's tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Marissa Licata, extraordinary violinist. She's going to play live for us as well coming up. We've got fantasy, paranormal, supernatural novelist R.A. Rivas joining us this coming week as well as actress, film producer Ashton Clay and musician, music producer Rich Adams joining us as well. Broadway expert and actress Kimberly Faye Greenberg is joining us this coming week as well, and so much more. Hey, here's that shot when Scott was getting married on Facts of Life. Yes. And that's a great shot there as well. And Nancy McKeown is there, played his wife on that episode of that sitcom. Hey, gang, you're watching the Jim Masters Show live on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Share it. Share the link. Post it on your social media. Spread the word. Those of you who have done that, we thank you so very much. The channel is dedicated to entertaining, informing, educating, and inspiring, and so is our series, the Jim Masters Show Live. Don't forget to smile and share the levity, as we always say. Find your Zen place. Mine, of course, is the ocean. Scott's is the ocean. Jen Barry, Scott grew up here in the New York area, so a lot of ocean around us. So the ocean is his place too, as is mine. Jen Barry loves her Allentown mountains. And of course, my career in television, radio, stage, and film is also very Zen for me as well. And as you heard Scott Bryce say, he's in his zone. He's in a Zen for him, especially when he's doing his thing on stage, film, television, and teaching others along the way too. So find your Zen place. And as we always say, share it with the rest of the world.